Guess who's back, 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 back again, good, good. Nellie's back, 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 and she's ready to help you make more money. So I have missed the show. We took a quick hiatus because ease, flow, and fun is a top priority of mine, and I never want to half-ass anything, and so it just felt incredibly good to take a pause, take a quick hiatus, and come back with just so much more love and energy. And the amount of things that have happened since pausing the show is like, in the last quarter of 2023, I like quantum leaped more than the rest of 2023 combined in so many different ways. Like, that last quarter was like, wow. And I think it's also important to talk about everything that was leading up to the last quarter was absolutely impacting the results that happened in the last quarter. And that can be incredibly hard when you are in that, I call that the messy middle. When you're in that and you're not seeing what you want to see as quickly as you want to see it, it can like be a challenge. And the more we can just trust that it's working, that it's happening, do our part more and more and more, then you'll start to see the results. But too often we give up. And so this episode is all about promising yourself to do this, to do passive income, and so many other things. I do want to give a shout out to our amazing sponsor of today's episode, which is Kristen O'Rourke. She is a dear friend, a client of mine, and I could not be more proud of the mission that she's on, helping busy moms. She is the owner and creator of Busy Mom Bod, and she is really wanting to help so many more moms feel good throughout motherhood and take care of themselves in a way that works with them and their lifestyle and the season of life that they are in. She is offering consultation calls because she knows every mom is different, has different goals and priorities and time. So if you are wanting more information on her consultation call, she has a heart of gold. This woman is so badass. At least give her a follow on social media. She is a force to be reckoned with, and I just, again, could not be more proud of who she is, what she's doing to help mothers. She has such gifts and talents that are really helping women, and you can learn so much from her. And I of course love her, and she's got these amazing tattoos. She's just a cool human being. Like, give her a follow, book a consultation call. She is such a safe place to talk about health and fitness. She has no shame. Like, she's there to help you win and to feel good, like to feel good. So wherever you're listening or watching this episode, make sure that you grab the information. And as always, you can always send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram if you can't find what you're needing. We are happy to connect you with all the amazing humans in our community. So Kristen, thank you for sponsoring today's episode. So let's get to it. So let's talk about this. Promises versus goals. I feel very compelled for this to be the first episode back because promises were a game changer for me in 2023 versus goals. I've always been a very goal-oriented human being. I love setting goals. I love accomplishing goals. Like, it's always been a part of who I am. And also, when we are goal setting, there's a different energy. And so when I was reflecting back on 2023, I noticed something very interesting to me. When I set goals, it felt different. I had different results. Some of the goals that I set, I did not accomplish, and I think that's important for you to hear. However, I also made promises to myself. And guess what? Every promise felt incredibly good. Every promise was fulfilled, and every promise created the results that I got in Q4 that are now obviously continuing into 2024. So it just got me to thinking, well, why not just make promises? Like, what if I just let go of goal setting and leaned fully into promises? It's already proven to work. it feels good, regardless of it working or not. It feels good, and that's half the battle. And so I wanted to share this with you to try out, because when I make a promise to somebody else, I will go above and beyond to make it happen. Now, I'm not perfect. No one is perfect, but we aren't meant to be perfect anyways. The goal is to feel good and get a result, right? Like, I do believe it gets to be both, because I've gone for goals and burned myself out, and yeah, did I accomplish it? For sure, but it felt awful, right? Or I didn't accomplish it and it felt awful. So it's like both of the things, right? And so my husband and I have a thing where, like, when we've just always done this, even when we were dating, we do, like, do you pinky promise? And I won't break it. Like, he'll use it to his advantage in the best way possible. Sometimes he's like, are you mad at me? And I'm like, no. And he's like, do you pinky promise? And I'm like, shit. Dang it. Because he knows I will not break a pinky promise. Like, I morally cannot do it. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe this is just a me thing. I would love to know if you are the same way, so I don't feel alone. But, like, if you put out your pinky and ask me something, I have to be in alignment. I will not break a pinky promise. So to give you an example, I promised myself last year I would run a half marathon. I am so glad I did that, because that helped me get out of postpartum depression, truly. Like, it really, really helped me in so many ways. And I think my soul knew that. Now, it doesn't mean that it wasn't hard or challenging at times, but I made it was a promise. It was not a goal. And I remember that being a distinct factor when I was like, should I not run? Like, am I ready? Like, you're going to have the questioning moments. It's just it's human nature, right? And so it wasn't a goal. It was a promise. And I said, I made this promise to myself. I get to keep it. I get to keep it. And no one else benefited from me running a half marathon but myself. Like, sure, like, my family gets, like, a better mom, healthier, all those things. But, like, truly, that type of promise is very, very much just about me, which can make it even harder. But it was a promise, and I kept it, and it felt amazing. Even in the hard times, it still felt amazing. And I absolutely needed that promise to happen. Honestly, one of the biggest ones. So that was a very, very big one. I promised myself last year that I was going to start fully speaking up for myself, not leave anything on the table, to stand up for myself, speak up for myself, own my worth, own my time, own my value. And I did that time and time and time again in ways that I've never done before. And it was challenging, I'm not going to lie, because that requires you to put your people pleaser to the side and be like, it's time for me to speak up, right? This does not feel good. This does not feel in alignment. I do not deserve this, right? Like, so although it's, like, painful and hard in the moment, since I made it a promise to myself, I kept it and I followed through over and over and over again. I wasn't willing to allow the temporary pain or discomfort to to override the long-term promise, the long-term benefit, the long-term, like, self-love, right? Like, that is one of the highest forms of self-love, of speaking up for yourself. Like, your needs, your wants, your desires, how you want to be treated. Like, I think a lot of times we assume that people know those things, and some may be able to guess right, but it's also not their responsibility. And so I just did that time and time and time again last year, and I am just, like, I'm incredibly proud. So this revelation hit me over the holiday break, where I was like, no goal setting, which is shocking, because I've always set goals. Like, I'm not even going to use the word goals, at least try not to. And if I do, I'll correct it, because I'm human. But I keep saying promise, promise, promise. I have told multiple people in my life. I've written them down in my journal. I will keep doing that. I recorded a video this morning sharing my promises so I can have that as like a time capsule. But I get different results. It feels different when I promise myself, and why would I not lean into that? So this is my challenge to you. Try it out. You can start very, very small. Maybe today you want to promise yourself that you send an email, or you promise to yourself that you're going to put your phone down and hang out with your kids or hang out with your spouse. Try it out. Try it out. See if it feels different. See if you get a different result, because the biggest thing to creating your wealthiest life is really understanding it's going to require a better, more improved version of yourself. It's not that you have to change or be or do different necessarily. However, we do get to be honest with ourselves of like, well, if I keep leaning into goals and trying to force things to happen and it feels awful, a form of self-sabotage is this feels awful, so I'm not going to do it. And logically that messes with our brains, because we're like, but you said you wanted it, right? Like, I've wanted to have 1,000 students that I am serving and supporting and getting amazing results. And time again, since that has been a goal, I have self-sabotaged. Like, again, just being super honest. I know I am capable of enrolling 1,000 students. Hands down, I know who I am. I know what I have to offer, and I know how many people are on social media. And it doesn't mean that I have to do it overnight. I don't have to like burn myself out, but I know I can do it. And so this has been a goal of mine in the past. So why has it not happened? You could argue postpartum depression. You could argue, marketing. There's so many reasons why you could say it. And also, what if it literally just came down to how I was setting it up, right? If I'm saying that this is a goal and I'm trying to force myself in an energy that does not make sense, then I'm already setting myself up to be like swimming upstream. When I make a promise to myself and say like, I promise to enroll 1,000 students in whatever it is, and I want it, I've already decided that it's going to happen. And it's a different energy. Now, both require work. Like, I don't want you to confuse that you make the promise and then it happens, but it's really the foundation of how we're setting up what you desire that I really do believe makes a world of a difference. And I haven't been able to fully articulate it until this revelation of, oh my gosh, when I promise my husband something, when I promise my team something, when I promise myself something, 9 times out of 10, it happens. It feels good. I make it happen. It literally goes to the next thing, right? Like it just keeps compounding. If I'm setting up a goal and it already is not on a strong foundation, then I am going to self-sabotage, right? Like, I am going to use postpartum depression as an excuse. It's an absolutely viable excuse. And also there's strategies that no matter what is happening in life, you can still get what you desire and it feel really good. Like, I really do believe that. Like, over the holiday break, I was generating leads 24/7 without having to do anything. So although I was cleaning dishes 24/7, managing kids that were grumpy and tired, having family time, right? Like, unwrapping gifts, like all of the things, my business was still running on autopilot because of the systems that I set up. So regardless of anyone getting sick, anyone having a hard day, or the good days, right? Like, no matter what I set up, and it's because I made that to be a promise. Like, the systems that I set up, I phrased it in a way of like, you owe it to yourself to figure this out. Like, promise to yourself that you're going to figure this out. And the beautiful part is, other people will benefit from you promising this as well. Not only you and your family, but like, when you master this autopilot method, then you'll be able to teach it to other people and bless their life. And like, what an incredible gift, right? So like, what I want you to take away from this episode is we've got to set this up, anything that you desire, on the strongest foundation with how we phrase it. Our words really do matter. I watched a YouTube video very recently, and it said, actions speak louder than words. And although that is true, words are still incredibly powerful because words lead to specific actions. So really, I even love, instead of saying actions speak louder than words, what if it was just simply words and actions both matter equally? Like, I know that sounds so basic, but like our words and our actions equally matter. And you setting up and making promises to yourself is different wording. Goal setting typically throws people off because it's a whole new way of being. And so if we just released a whole new way of being, right? And we simply said, I promise to run a full marathon in 2024. I promise to enroll 1,000 students in passive income school in 2024. I promise to create the cash needed for our dream home that is not already budgeted, so it's even easier to find our dream home, shop for our dream home, and not worry. I promise to do that in 2024, this year. It feels so different. So different. And all of these promises and more connect. And I'm going to guarantee you that yours connect, right? Health and fitness, the dream home, the students. I have big promises and small promises, and they all matter and they all connect. And so you setting up the strongest foundation before we even take any action is a game changer. Like, game changer. You will self-sabotage less. It will feel so much better. You will be excited to take action. You will feel compelled to take action. Like, work with yourself rather than against yourself. And the coolest part is you'll still get to the goal, but we set it up differently, right? A lot of health and fitness trainers use a strategy that like if you've ever done like a personal training session before, they'll be like, okay, just give me 10 more. Just give me 10 more. And then you'll be like, okay, right? And it's like 10 more push-ups. And they're like, okay, give me 5 more. And you're like, okay, I can do 5 more, right? And so they're doing that to propel you forward. If they said, give me 100 more, you'd be like, no, I can't do it, right? It's just too far away. And that's what happens with a lot of goals. When we goal set, it's, oh my gosh, I want 1,000 students. Oh my gosh, maybe you want to leave your day job. Maybe you want to pay off a bunch of debt, right? Like, these are big, audacious, powerful goals that you're absolutely capable of accomplishing. And again, with where you're at versus where you want to go, there's a lot of growth that gets to happen in order to arrive to that destination. And that's where our brains typically go in freak out mode, because when you have been doing something a certain way, you as a person get in autopilot, right? And you get in a routine, you get in a rhythm, you get in habits. And so when we go to like complete cold turkey and you're like literally going to the gym, every single day, you're eating only chicken, veggies, and rice, right? Like, when you go full extreme, although it can have a lot of results, studies show it's too much on your nervous system. It's too much on your brain. And 9 times out of 10, you will start to self-sabotage the day that you get sick, or the day that your kids are sick, or you're on your period. It's like, yeah, I'm just not going to go, right? And then zoop, you rewind and you're back into your old way of being. And then you're shaming yourself because you were getting so much great progress, right? And that doesn't feel good. So like, to me, a promise just feels more personal. It feels more gentle. It feels more feminine. I'm not going to be perfect still, right? Like, even when I promised myself to run the half marathon last year, I questioned myself. I was like, can I really do this? Some days I did not want to run. And so on the days I didn't want to run, I would always, kind of like the personal trainer, I'd be like, okay, let me just do 10 minutes, right? Like, let me do 10 minutes. I made a promise to myself this is happening. I want it to happen. I know that I want it to happen, right? So I just think that that's important to acknowledge, of like, setting it up on the foundation, the strongest foundation, still does not mean that you won't have obstacles. You will have obstacles, you will have challenges no matter what. But when it's on the stronger foundation, your commitment is unwavering. Unwavering. You are unstoppable. You are going to do it. It's just a matter of time. And that strong, stable foundation is what gets you through the sick days, the period, right? The questioning, and gets you to the result. And it feels so much better before, during, and even after. Like, the energy that I felt the day of the half marathon was one of the best days of 2023. I felt so overwhelmed with so many emotions during that run. It was still hard. Like, I remember running that half marathon and I was listening to music, and there was 1 mile that I was like, okay, I wanted to run the whole thing, but I was like, I think I could benefit from like a quick walk. And I started to slow down to walk, and my legs started to like feel like jello, and I was like, nope, like I will literally collapse if I try to stop my body. Like, my body was in such a rhythm that like it was actually going to be more harmful to walk. In the half marathon here in Columbus, they have an angel mile where families that have lost their child are there on the sidelines, and they have posters, and I'm literally like sobbing. I've got this like blue wig on my head because I wore like a Wonder Woman costume, but I've got this blue wig on my head. I'm crying. My legs are like, I'm spent, right? And like, I love that they put that mile there, because you're at a moment where you're like, can I really do this? And then you see parents thanking you for running for their kid. Like, that's how they see it. And how could you not want to keep going, right? Like, what a big, beautiful thing. And so I just remember feeling so alive that day. And that's what life is all about. You aren't supposed to shame yourself or just live, you know, a mediocre life where you're not living, right? Like, you're supposed to live. And none of us know how long we're here for, which is, again, why I love what Kristen is all about, because the days that I am here, I want to have as much energy as I can. I want to be as focused as I can. I want to feel good. And I want to accomplish big, beautiful things. And I know that I'm capable just as much as that you're capable of. So I'm only making promises to myself this year. It is already feeling so different, and I'm just a sharer. I don't keep information. I love to share it. I love to teach it. I love to cheer you on. And so my invitation to you is to at least try it out today. One small promise. Pick one small promise. It can be about your business. It can be about you, but see how it feels. Did you get the result, right? And then think about a bigger promise that you would love to focus on for 2024. And I want you to send me a DM and say what the big promise is. Okay, you can send it on Facebook or Instagram. But I want to know what the big promise is, because that is a big part of the promise, is that you tell other people about your promises. So I've made this up. This is not coming from anywhere else but my heart. But I hope that it serves you. I hope that it gives you amazing results, but most importantly, feels incredible every step of the way. If you have any questions on this process, let me know. I'll be sharing about this all year long. So I am right here with you, making promises and keeping them, and moving forward with ease, flow, and fun. So cheers to 2024. I love you, and I hope you accomplish all of the promises and more that your heart desires this year.